to just think about where it started to where it is now, owning my own business, and been on my own for 5 tax seasons now. Couldn't have done it without the support of my friends, my family, and the community around us that continues to trust us with our service, with their finances, with their families' finances, and tax work and all those things. So I just want to say thank you, first and foremost. One of the things that really sticks out to me, it's a pattern, is change. And going all the way back to my baseball days, I've been a creature of habit for a very long time. And so that's one of the things that I think keeps me motivated and my motor running, to be honest with you, is the fact that I'm consistent. I'm a creature of habit. I like to do the same things day in and day out consistently, outside of tax season. But I think what allows us to continue to grow and pivot and push through those barriers is making those big changes. And, I always think that change needs to be calculated and needs to be really considered and thought through. But a lot of times the things that push us to that next level is making that, change that requires a hard conversation, requires a big shift, requires it to be uncomfortable and inconvenient. And I think
The Mark Biggs Show.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Mark Biggs Show, solo episode this time. First and foremost, I want to say thank you so much to all of you who have listened to this point. We just surpassed 1,000 downloads over the course of the Mark Biggs Show's history, dating back to last summer. So first and foremost, thank you to everyone that's taking the time to stop and listen, subscribe, like, all that stuff. And so right out of the gate, I want to ask you, if you have got any value out of this, share this with someone, and also like, subscribe, all those things on YouTube. We're doing all these things out of our own pocket. We don't get paid to do it, so not looking for any marketing dollars, any money from you. But this is how we're going to grow this thing. So I just want to, share it with as many people as I can, provide as much value as I can from a life perspective, from a business standpoint, all those types of things. So if you would like, share, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you listen to this podcast at, that would really mean a lot to us. So thank you so much, first and foremost. Anybody that knows me knows I'm in the accounting and the tax business here locally in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And so over the course of the last couple of months, we've ran through tax season and met with thousands of clients in and out of the office over the last few months. I just want to say thank you and express my gratitude for that. Number one, to the community around us that supports us, supports our business, supports our families, all those things. So first and foremost, I just want to say thank you. Believe it or not, this is tax season number 10 for me. The first tax season, any of you that listened to the first episode way back when knew that when I got cut from the baseball team, I had started to work at a previous firm that I was with, and so that was my first tax season back in 2016, in the spring of 16. Right as I got cut from the baseball team, and to just think about where it started to where it is now, owning my own business, and been on my own for 5 tax seasons now. Couldn't have done it without the support of my friends, my family, and the community around us that continues to trust us with our service, with their finances, with their families' finances, and tax work and all those things. So I just want to say thank you, first and foremost. But really have been thinking and reflecting a lot over the last couple of weeks. A lot of late nights at the office working alone with the door shut, door locked. Lights are out, phones are not ringing, so a lot of time for me to sit and reflect. And what I do is I think about just how far we've come, about how far we still have to go, and really just I try to listen to a lot of business leaders while I'm sitting there working on clients' returns and all those things, while I have time to actually sit and do that and kind of soak those stuff in halfway subliminally as I'm working. I think that's one of the things that's allowed me over the years to really shape and shift my mindset, to be honest with you, is just passively listening to thought leaders and business leaders and people that I respect from a business standpoint. And there's been dozens of those over the course of the years, but I listen to a few consistently. And a lot of the things that I think has shaped my mindset, number one, as a man, as a leader, as a business owner, has just been passively listening to these things evolve over time. And one of the things that really sticks out to me, it's a pattern, is change. And going all the way back to my baseball days, I've been a creature of habit for a very long time. And so that's one of the things that I think keeps me motivated and my motor running, to be honest with you, is the fact that I'm consistent. I'm a creature of habit. I like to do the same things day in and day out consistently, outside of tax season. Love to work out first thing in the morning to get my day started right. It's quiet. And no one's in my ear yet, just kind of a quiet, mellow time to be to myself, move my body, sweat, all those positive things to start the day and all those types of things. And that kind of sets the tone for the day for me. And so tax season is always a shift for me mentally, because the schedule's just crazy, to be honest with you. Sitting with clients from 8 to 6, 7, 8 p.m. most nights, and then, running home, hanging out with the family and the kids before they go to bed. And then as soon as they go to bed, heading back to the office to work for another few hours, like I just mentioned, with the door shut and door locked and lights out, no phones ringing, and just trying to knock out some work. And so it kind of throws off the routine. So every year mentally, I kind of go through this battle with myself, so to speak, of, is this really what I want to do forever? All these things that kind of just go through your head as you're, grinding through things. And so one of the things that I think will allow me and any business owner or any person, to be honest with you, to continue to evolve and adapt is to be comfortable with change. And I think just as people in general, we struggle with that. I know myself personally, like I said, being a creature of habit, I really struggle with change. And so what I've done over the years is try to change different things over the course of time that I know is going to benefit me, my business, my family, all those types of things. Because at the end of the day, you can let your business consume you. You can let your job consume you. You can let all these various things consume you if you don't start to take control of the day-to-day actions. And so, like, for example, we were with a investment partner that I had been with even back to my days with the previous financial firm I was with. And I'd been with them for, I guess, 7 or 8 years at that point, long-standing relationship, no real issues, good support, all those types of things. Had been approached over the course of about 18 months by another, business that does the same exact thing. And they try to go out and recruit new advisors and this, that, and the other thing. Never really given much thought to it. Once again, just because it was a change and it's a headache and it's paperwork and talking to clients about why you're switching, why you're doing this or that. And so I never really took it serious. And then finally one day it just kind of hit me. They had been kind of hounding me over the course of about 18 months. And finally I was like, let's take this call. And so we sat down and we talked over Zoom 2 or 3 different times. And I kind of, felt like something tugging at me, like this is something you really need to consider. And then so last year in February, right as tax season was getting busy, probably the most inconvenient time of the entire year, me and both the guys flew out to LA to meet these guys and just kind of see what they were about, see what they could offer us as an investment partner and all those things. And I knew right away as soon as we got there and started to meet with them and talk with them about their philosophy, their approach, all the support they provide, it was the thing for us. And so, fly back home. It was the first part of February, so tax season's nuts. It's the craziest part of the year. All these various things that you would think, why in the world would you do that right in the middle of that? And it's just because it felt right. And so that's one of the things I want to encourage you guys throughout this podcast is to, if something feels right, if you need to make that change, make it. Because we made that shift right in the middle of tax season. Had to call the other investment partner that I'd been with for long-standing 7-8 year relationship, good run, and just basically break the ice and be like, look, I appreciate all you've done for me in my business, but at this point we're gonna switch gears and we're gonna go with this different partner and kind of shift our business that way. And it's been the best thing we've ever done. Over the course of the last year, we've done more business and more production than we had previously, and numbers continue to grow. And a lot of those things have been because of the support of that partner, Kinetic. And you saw in a previous podcast where I had met with the owner, Ali Hashimian, and interviewed him while we were out in LA doing a work trip. And so those types of things are big shifts that you have to make. But a lot of times I think what allows us to continue to grow and pivot and push through those barriers is making those big changes. And, I always think that change needs to be calculated and needs to be really considered and thought through. But a lot of times the things that push us to that next level is making that, change that requires a hard conversation, requires a big shift, requires it to be uncomfortable and inconvenient. And I think that's what great leaders continue to do time after time again. Going back to being a creature of habit, I remember playing baseball. Like if I was up to pitch that night, I had the same exact routine from the time that, 12 o'clock in that day hit to getting to the stadium, foam rolling at a certain time, lifting my weights at a certain time, doing my running at a certain time. If I was up to pitch that night, I knew what my throwing program needed to be when we went out on the field, came back in, hot and cold tub at the appropriate time, eat dinner at the same time every night if it was a 7:05 game, put my uniform on the same way, put my socks and my sliders and my jersey on the exact same way every single night that I was up to pitch, because that's what made me comfortable. And then you realize that when you get in the game, nothing is comfortable. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, is what Mike Tyson always said. And so it's one of those things where you have to be a creature of habit so that you're consistent in your actions, but also being willing to make those big changes. And that's the one thing that I think has just been a catalyst to the small success that I've been able to have as a business leader and a business owner, and continuing to grow the people around me, is being okay with those uncomfortable conversations and making the big shifts when they're needed to be made. I'm not just telling you to uproot everything that you got going on and shift everything in your life. But a lot of times people are working hard and they're doing good things, and all of a sudden they kind of hit like a little bit of a plateau or a wall, and they just can't find that next level and that next gear. And I think a lot of times it's those changes that need to be made. And it's not that anything's going wrong. It's not that anything is, being done incorrectly or whatever, but sometimes you just need a shift in mindset, a shift in scenery. And so I'm looking forward to, as our business continues to grow, really sitting down after tax season's over next week and kind of putting, pen to paper and realizing the growth that we've had, the success that we've had have come from, these various things. It's obviously all relational. Obviously you got to be good at your profession, but we build relationships and really take the time to care for our clients and all those types of things. And those core values can never change, but, figuring out what are some practical things day to day, week to week, month to month, from a top level perspective that I can put in place as the owner that's going to help me, it's going to help the guys around me, help the business continue to grow, help the people that come on in the future to work with us, all those types of things. And so I've just been really reflecting recently on the big shifts that have happened. When I left the previous firm, I was in a great spot, was making good money, didn't have a lot of overhead, didn't have any responsibility because I didn't own the place, just continue to work hard and try to build my clientele. And a lot of people would have thought I was crazy for ever leaving, but it was just something in me that I'd always wanted to own my own business. I'd always wanted to be kind of the man in charge. And a lot of people don't know the stress that comes with that. And I didn't really know it at the time either. I thought I did, but I didn't. But it was just always one of those things that was in the back of my head. And it was during COVID, which a lot of people would have said, you're nuts for leaving during COVID too. But I just felt the time was right, so I jumped. And same thing with, changing investment partners last year and those types of things. So I think those big changes are a lot of the times what allows that growth to continue to move forward when, once again, it's not that you're doing anything wrong, anything's being done incorrectly. It's just sometimes as you're going on your journey and on your path, you hit a little bit of a plateau or a wall, so to speak. A lot of times those changes are what needs to be made. So really want to encourage you to take the time to kind of think about where you're at, what you're doing, what you want to do. And sometimes those uncomfortable conversations and big shifts in your life are what's the one little barrier from you hitting that next level that you're ready for mentally. You just got to take the practical approach and go about things the right way. And sometimes it requires change. But for someone like me, it's always been a difficult thing to do just because I'm such a creature of habit. And so I've struggled with that. I've struggled with difficult conversations at times, but I've realized the most successful people, they make the most decisions. It's just, if they make the wrong decision, they just course correct and make another one to correct it. And so you can't be afraid of those things. You can't be afraid of failing. You can't be afraid of making mistakes. You have to just be prepared to face the consequences of your decisions and the changes that you do make. Because like I said, a lot of times that's what's holding you back from that very next level. It's not that you're doing not enough. It's just if you want to continue that path forward and continue that journey, a lot of times these little subtle, not always major changes and shifts are what spurs you on to that next growth. So I want to just encourage you with that and just kind of give you an idea of where we are and how tax season's been. And I'm very grateful for everyone in the community and that supported our business and our families and all that stuff at Biggs Financial. So I want to say thank you so much. But also, as we continue to provide value to you, the people that listen to this podcast, just want to encourage you day in and day out, audit where you're at, see if there's some changes that need to be made to kind of get you to that next level. And can't wait to continue to provide you guys value. There'll be, I got some exciting guests in the back of my head for this summer and the rest of this year. So I hope you guys continue to tune in. Please like, subscribe, and share like I mentioned before. And can't wait to see you guys soon. See you next time.